He claimed to have spoken to angels. He translated scriptures that no one else could see. He rewrote the Bible and declared, "I am God's chosen one." But what if it's all just a big hoax? Joseph Smith, the founding prophet of Mormonism, built one of the most influential religions in the modern world. However, when his claims are examined closely, what seemed sacred begins to unravel. In this video, you'll learn about the 4 main reasons that call Joseph Smith's prophetic legitimacy into question, and understand why many consider him a false prophet. Get ready for an in-depth, respectful, and straightforward analysis. If you value serious, well-researched content that confronts ideas based on facts and arguments, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. This helps us to continue bringing you the truth with respect, depth, and responsibility. Let's go to the video. Mormonism makes some impressive claims, but upon closer examination, the foundation quickly begins to crumble. In this video, I will explore 4 main reasons why Joseph Smith's claims of being a prophet fail, and why Mormonism is problematic. First, Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, claimed to be a prophet chosen by God in a similar way to Muhammad. However, like the Islamic prophet, Smith used a questionable method to back up his claims. This method, known as self-certification, is both simple and deceptive. The central idea of this strategy is to claim that a prophecy has been recorded in an ancient text, but curiously, the only proof that this prophecy exists is in the hands of the claimant himself. Let's understand how this dismantles Smith's prophetic claims. In 1830, Smith declared that he was the true prophet sent by God to restore the lost gospel. To justify this claim, he claimed that the patriarch Joseph had prophesied his arrival in the Bible. And where exactly was this prophecy? According to him, in Genesis 50:33, there's a small problem here. Genesis ends at verse 26. But don't worry, Smith had an explanation. He said that verse 33 had been lost over time. Fortunately for him, this verse was revealed again in his own revised translation of the Bible, the Joseph Smith translation. What a coincidence, huh? The only evidence to support Smith's claim to be a prophet was in a text that he himself could present. Think about the absurdity of that for a moment. To believe in Joseph Smith, you have to accept the existence of this lost verse. And to believe that verse, you must trust Joseph Smith alone. This is a circular fallacy that requires blind faith, and more than that, is a clear sign of fraud. Worst of all, it makes God look totally incoherent. The idea that God made a prophecy about Joseph Smith's arrival and then allowed the whole world to forget that message only to reveal it again to the one person the prophecy was about is strange, to say the least. What is the purpose of a prophecy if only the subject of it knows about it? It's like walking around with a little sign saying, "I'm the chosen one. Ask me how." Now let's apply a little logic. If God had really made a prophecy about the coming of a prophet, that message should be verifiable. People would be able to confirm it. God wouldn't make a prophecy disappear, only to reissue it to the sole recipient of that prediction. This is foolish. No biblical prophet would act in such a strange way. They base their claims on verifiable miracles, on prophecies that were fulfilled, or on existing scriptures that could be confirmed by others. But Smith did exactly what a false prophet would do. He inserted himself into the Bible. And here's the rub. Many Mormons would rightly reject Muhammad because he made exactly the same kind of claim in the Quran. Look at Surah 61, verse 6, where Muhammad claims that Jesus predicted his arrival, mentioning his name. But the only source of this prophecy is the Quran itself. No historical record confirms this claim. No. It's basically a trust me. Now think about it. If Mormons reject Muhammad as a false prophet for using this self-certification tactic, why wouldn't they reject Joseph Smith for the same reason? They both created prophecies about themselves which, coincidentally, had been lost until God supposedly revealed them again. But that's not the way true prophecies work. Speaking of prophecies, one of the clearest examples of Joseph Smith's prophetic failure comes from a revelation he claimed to have received in September 1832. In the Doctrine and Covenants, section 84, Smith stated that a temple would be built in Independence, Missouri, the future New Jerusalem. According to the revelation, this temple would be erected within the lifetime of the generation that was alive at that time. The verse says, "For truly this generation shall not pass away until a house is built for the Lord, and a cloud descends upon it, and that cloud shall be the glory of the Lord, which shall fill his house." Smith's prophecy was quite specific. A temple would be built on that site and would be completed while the generation of 1832 was still alive. The problem is that this temple was never built. Nearly 2 centuries have passed, and the land earmarked for the temple in Independence, Missouri, still stands empty. Moses had already warned us about false prophets in Deuteronomy 18:22. When a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the thing does not come to pass or be fulfilled, that is the word which the Lord has not spoken. Smith's failure to fulfill the prophecy about the Missouri temple is exactly what Moses warned about, a clear sign that he was a false prophet. You could argue that there are other reasons to trust Smith. After all, he claimed to have found the golden plates and miraculously translated them using the Urim and Thummim. Wouldn't that be proof of his prophetic gift? Well, maybe not. One of the biggest apologetic difficulties for Mormons is the Book of Abraham, a supposed translation made by Joseph Smith. In 1835, Smith bought some ancient Egyptian papyri from a traveling exhibition. At that time, no one knew how to read ancient Egyptian, and this was before the Rosetta Stone was deciphered. Even so, Smith confidently claimed that the papyri he bought contained writings by the patriarch Abraham himself. Soon, he published the Book of Abraham, which was quickly canonized into the Pearl of Great Price, a central text in Mormon scripture. Now, let's talk about the famous facsimiles that were included in the Book of Abraham. Smith presented these facsimiles as illustrations of the story he was telling, such as facsimile 1, which he said showed Abraham about to be sacrificed by an Egyptian priest. The problem? That's not what the image shows at all. Even a casual observer can notice that the priest's head is completely out of proportion. What's even more surprising is that the image isn't even Egyptian. When the original papyrus was rediscovered, experts confirmed that Smith had invented those details on his own. The real image depicts a common Egyptian scene showing the god Anubis resurrecting Osiris on a lion's bed. The priest and the human head that Smith added, completely fabricated. And the situation gets even worse. The actual Egyptian text on the papyri is now easily translated, and it has absolutely nothing to do with Abraham. Abraham's name doesn't even appear in the text. It is a standard funerary text known as the Book of Breaths, intended to guide the dead to the afterlife. Even the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS, now admits that the characters on the papyrus do not mention Abraham, and that the text dates back to 200 BC, i.e. about 1800 years after the time when Abraham would have lived. Mormon apologists try to justify this discrepancy. Some argue that key parts of the papyrus may have been lost over time. What a convenient coincidence, right? Others suggest that Smith reinterpreted, through revelation, the Osiris scene to fit the Abraham story. But this is pure speculation, with no historical support. The truth is that the Book of Abraham is based on nothing but Smith's imagination. And here's a crucial point. No Jew, Egyptian, or early Christian ever mentioned any Book of Abraham. If there really was a text by this very important patriarch, you'd think someone would have talked about it. Now, Mormons can point to the 11 witnesses who signed statements claiming to have seen the golden plates. Yes, 3 of these men even claim to have seen the angel Moroni. This seems impressive at first glance, but let's examine it more carefully. Even if several people have seen the golden plates, this proves nothing about whether these plates contain any divine truth. The real issue is not about the existence of the plates, but about their content. Were they really revealed by God? We have very little evidence of that. Considering the Book of Abraham fiasco, Joseph Smith's alleged miraculous translation skills are in serious doubt. If he was able to invent a text based on ordinary Egyptian funerary papyri, how can we trust his claims about the plates? And don't forget, the witness accounts of these plates are also extremely vague. Very few details about Moroni's appearance or what these people actually lived through. Compare this with the witnesses to Jesus' resurrection. In Jesus' case, his disciples didn't just have quick and mysterious encounters. They touched him, ate with him, talked with him, and spent 40 days with him before seeing him ascend into heaven. Their experiences were concrete and spread over a long period of time. So while the statements of Smith's witnesses may seem convincing at first glance, they don't reveal much about the truthfulness of the Book of Mormon. The Book of Abraham, on the other hand, gives us serious reason to question Joseph Smith's so-called prophetic gifts. Subjective feelings of the supposed witness of the Spirit may be persuasive, but they cannot override the overwhelming evidence against Joseph Smith's prophetic claims. For my Mormon listeners, I have only scratched the surface here. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. Don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and leave a comment saying what you thought. This helps a lot in spreading the word and shows YouTube that this content deserves to be delivered to more people. Until next time, and God bless you.